So we're into family number 3, which is the bridge family. So these are all letters that have a vertical downstroke followed by a diagonal movement to the right, okay? So we're going to start off with the first letter in the bridge family, and that's the letter N. So it's a lowercase n, it's a small letter, so we're going to be starting in between those two solid lines. So we start off with our pencil on the top solid line. We're going to come down in a nice straight soldier all the way to the bottom solid line, keeping our pencil on the paper. Then we're going to come halfway up that straight soldier, and that's when we're going to start to do that diagonal movement to the right. So we're going to go up, round, over, bump our head on the top solid line, and we're going to come down nice and straight down to the bottom solid line, and that's when we're going to do our diagonal joining stroke. So we'll practice that one again. So we're going to do a nice straight soldier, starting with our pencil on the top solid line. We're going to go down in a nice straight soldier all the way to the bottom solid line, up the straight soldier part way, and then just before we get to the top solid line, we're going to go over towards the right. We're going to bump our heads on the top solid line, over, bump our heads down, down to the bottom solid line, bump our bottoms, and then come up to do our joining stroke without taking our pencil off the paper. Can you see how we've got a nice little triangle in between the top of our N? So we're going to try and make that a little bit more oval shaped now. So I'm going to do another one here, watching carefully as we go down in a straight soldier, starting on the top solid line, straight soldier down, bump our bottom, up part way, go across over to the right, bump our heads down, nice straight soldier, then come up to do your joining stroke. See if you can have a go at doing a lowercase n. Let's do at least 4 of those and have a little bit more practice if you need it. So we're going down, nice straight line. Not forgetting to do that joining stroke at the end. If you need to practice them a bit more, you can do some more along that line. Once you think you're happy with one, put a little dot underneath your perfect N. So that should be one where you've got the nice straight soldier, you go over, you bump your head, but you're keeping that vertical joining stroke nice and neat. Moving on to the next letter in the bridge family, so this is the letter M. So we're going to use that same kind of movement as in the bridge family, using the vertical downstroke followed by a diagonal movement to the right. So again, it's a small letter, so we're staying in between those two solid lines. We're going to go down in a nice straight soldier, starting on the top solid line. We're going to go down, nice straight soldier, bump our bottoms, go part way back up that straight soldier, and that's when you start to move over to the right, go over, bump your head on the top solid line, down, come all the way down to the bottom solid line, but then we go back up this line, and that's when we curve back over again to the right, bump our heads again, straight soldier, come down to the bottom solid line, keep your pencil on the paper, and then go up to do your diagonal joining stroke to the side. So watching that one again, we'll do another M. Small letter, so we're staying in between the two solid lines. We start on the top solid line, nice straight soldier down, keeping it nice and straight, bump our bottoms, go back up the soldier without taking our pencils off, and then just before we get to the top, we're going over to the right, bump our heads, down, bump our bottoms, back up, over, bump our head, and then don't forget to do your diagonal joining stroke to the right. You see on this one there's a slight gap in between the middle of my M. On my next one I'm just going to make sure that I try and keep that together. So I'm going to do another one. I'm not going to cross it out or rub it out. I'm going to go down in a straight soldier, up, over, bump my head, down, back up, over, bump my head, come down, and then do my joining stroke. So that's a better one, where we've got the middle bit together. We've not got that separation in between. So keep practicing those, see how many you can do. Take your time with them. And then when you think you've got the perfect one, just have a look back, put a little dot underneath your best letter M, try and look for the one that's got the nice straight soldiers and that good joining stroke at the end as well. They should have nice narrow bridges in between, so it shouldn't be too much space between them in the bridge. It should be a nice narrow bridge. And then the last letter for this part of the bridge family, so there are some more letters in the bridge family, but we're just going to start with these three for now, is the letter R. So it's a lowercase r. For this one, that triangle that we talked about in between is really important. So we're going to start again between the two solid lines because it's a small letter. We're going to start with our pencil on the top solid line. We're going to come down in a nice straight soldier, bump our bottom on the bottom solid line. We come back up part way, that straight soldier, and that's when we start to go off towards the right in that diagonal movement up, bump our heads. So we bump our heads on it. We come over, and then this is when we do our diagonal joining stroke to the side. So we go down, straight soldier, up, over, bump our heads, joining stroke. This is a really hard one, so keep practicing with this one. See if you can have a go too. So starting on the top solid line, down, bump our bottom, up, diagonal, over, bump your head, come down, joining stroke. Starting to get the hang of it a little bit more now. Keep practicing those on that line there. Then when you think you've practiced them and you've got a perfect example, just put a little dot underneath your best lowercase r. Think about why it's the best one. Has it got a nice straight soldier? Have you managed to fit in that joining stroke? You see this one was far too wide, the first one that I did. And then we've got more narrow bridges as I've gone across. And once you've done that, that's the first part of the bridge family.